It is Monday, and y'all know what that means. It's Monday Motivation Night. So thank you guys as you start to come in. Those of you that are starting to get the notification and everything, everybody will start popping in as they get that. And there's other great things going on the YouTube, so I'm sure people are bouncing around, and that's quite okay. So welcome to Monday. Woo, was it ever a Monday for me? Let me tell you. I looked at Bella this morning and I was like, really? I just want to stay home with you. So welcome in, guys. If you do not know who I am Pamela, aka Scooterrenee. I'm your host of Monday Motivation. I also do auctions on my channel as well. So if you ever want to catch me on an auction, I'm usually on about 7:30 p.m. Central. And then usually in my community page, if I'm going to be on other people's channel like Josie's Place and stuff, that will be in my community tab as well. So on top of that, or along with that, guys, make sure you do the YouTube things. You subscribe to my channel, ring that bell for all notifications, and if you will do a thumbs up on your way in, on your way out, as long as you do it, that's all I care about. Hey, I rhymed and didn't know it. Hey, that's pretty good. Anyway, sometimes I amaze myself. So welcome in. If you are new, I hope you'll keep coming back to Monday Motivation. Again, I hope to see you at auctions as well, but Monday Motivation is where it's at if you need some motivating. All my OGs, you know who you are. You're coming in as I'm talking right now, and those of you will keep coming in as I go along. So like I said, there's lots of great things going on. And then the playback crew, welcome in. So glad to have my playback crew. If you are the playback crew, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're the playback crew. I always love seeing those comments because then it means that people are, still checking it out. So let's see who all is in chat. We got a lot to cover tonight. I was telling Selena earlier, I don't know if my blood sugar is off today or what. I've just kind of been, Earlier today I had like the shakes and then just kind of not really a nauseous feeling, but I don't know how to describe the feeling. But anyway, so we're going to bust through this. It was still important to me to come in here and do Monday Motivation. This morning, I wasn't feeling it for the topic. As I was going through the topic last night, I was like, I'm still not feeling it. And so for some reason, later on in Monday, as I go through my notes, it's like, now all the ideas start rolling. So last week was a hard topic, but ended up working out. So I'm hoping tonight will be the same way. So let's see who all is in here. We've got Truly Amazing. Welcome in. So good to see you. Welcome. Hopefully you are either here or you'll come back. So good to see you. We got Josie here. Hey, Josie. Welcome in. So good to see you. Mr. Stephanie. Hello. Welcome in. And we got Steph here as well. Guys, if I hadn't been driving, I would have been on that sloth coffee mug. So, but, oh well, I can't have everything sloths, right? So, but welcome in, you two. If you are looking for deals and great items, go check them out, along with Josie as well. Y'all make sure y'all are supporting each other. It's very, very simple. All you do is click on the 3 dots out to the side at the person's name. If you have a blue wrench, I think it's the only way you can do it, though. Click on those 3 dots, say go to the channel, and then just hit subscribe when you go to their channel. It doesn't take you off of here, at least not when you're on the computer, I know. So make sure you're going in and supporting each other. That's how we all grow and help each other out. So we got Black Widow here. Hey, Black Widow. She's another one. Go check her out. She does some great auctions on her channel. Let's see. We got Selena here. Hello, Selena. Welcome in. Lisa D. How are you? Welcome in, Lisa D. So good to see you. And let's see. I think I am caught up. All right, Steph, but you got to tell me when it is so I make sure I'm not driving. Before I took off from work, I pulled their auction up so I at least have something to listen to on the way home because I wasn't really feeling music. So I was, listening to them as I drove, and I could see them, but I'm watching the road, obviously. But she puts that mug up there, and I'm like, really? All right. Okie dokie. Sounds good. Okay, guys. So I hope you all had a great weekend. I don't know how many of you watched the Super Bowl last night. I know I did. That's okay. It's okay. How many of you just watch for the commercials? Like, usually that's what I'm there for. I'm usually there for the national anthem part, at least the part of kickoff, because I always love. I don't know what it is about the kickoff part, but I always like to watch that part. And then I'm there for the commercials and the halftime show. Well, last night the only thing I was there for, because I missed the national anthem, because Robert and I was watching the greatest commercials of Super Bowl, something other, the funniest, something like that. So we missed the beginning of the national anthem, which was my favorite singer. And her name just goes right out of my head that quick. Daigle, first name, I can't think of it. Anyway, she's a Christian artist. So I was really touched to hear Laura Daigle, right? Something like that. Anyway, oh my gosh, she's my favorite artist, and her name is out of my head. So, but they did the national anthem, her and the guy that played the saxophone and stuff like that. Lauren Daigle, thank you. I thought it was Lauren, but then I was like, maybe that's not right. Maybe it's Laura. Anyways, so I missed that part. I got to see kickoff, and then the commercials, there was only one that I truly loved. And if you watched it, you know which one I really love. And the halftime show could have been better. That's all I got to say. So, but I went to bed. I told Selena earlier in the day, I was like, I will be shocked if the Eagles win. So guess what? I went to bed shocked last night because the Eagles pulled it off. I was really happy to see them accomplish that. But my favorite commercial of the night was the sloth commercial for the Cures beer commercial. It was Cures Monday is what they were calling it. But it was super cute. One of my absolute favorite things in the world. That was the first thing out of my boss's mouth this morning. So was the sloth your favorite commercial? You bet it was. So it was super cute. I loved it. So let's see. Last week, we talked about our purpose and our... There you are, Warcraft. Welcome in. Good to see you, buddy. Right? Yes, it was perfect. Of course, I related to it more than anything. I was like, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Hey, Joanne. Welcome in. Good to see you. All right, guys. Last week, we talked about our purpose and passion cable. And we also discussed how the dynamic and the static ropes also assist us in our climb of Hero Mountain. So tonight, we're going to be discussing another cable and how it comes into play. And this is the competency cable. So if you didn't know what competency meant, it means the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. Competencies are not skills. They are inherent qualities an individual possesses, which is knowledge and ability. A lot of people think that competency is skill, but it's not. They're two totally separate things. So before we get into it, we got to kick off with this. Positive spot thought. By stretching yourself beyond your perceived level of competence, you accelerate your development of competence. If you want to be successful, don't seek success, seek competence, empowerment. Every time I see that word now, Steph, I think of you. Empowerment, do nothing short of the best that you can do. So while we're talking about the cable related to competency, we won't just focus on the abilities that aid us, like our passions and mission that we discussed last week, but we'll also be discussing our personality makeups and opportunities. Super Bowl 59, as you all know, as I just discussed, was last night, and it was between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles, if you were sleeping under the rock and didn't know. That's who it was between. And these football players have to be competent in many, many areas. They have to be competent in their physical skills, their discipline, and their mental toughness. And every year these games are played, and it's to see who is the best of the best. And we really get to see these guys up close and personal. We kind of see them, while they're playing throughout the year, but we really get to see them when it comes to the Super Bowl. And of course, like I said, I used to be a Kansas City Chief fan back in 93, 94, and I still root for them every now and then. I'm just kind of like the Patriots. I was ready for somebody else to have a chance at winning. So, but I was rooting for the Eagles just because it's been so long since they have went and played in a Super Bowl. And like I said, I'm just a little tired of Kansas City. But my heart still went out to the Chiefs because you see the defeat in their faces and in their eyes at the end. So the mental toughness has to be a hard one to have all the time. You get disappointed, but you don't want it to show in your face. It happens all the time, no matter if you're playing football or just everyday life. Yet, now that they've got that past them, they're going to take a break and they're going to take time off until next football season, which will be just around the corner. But it gives them enough time to dust off their pants and their cleats just to do this all over again. So anybody get into the Mission Impossible movies? Anybody? I've never watched one. I mean, I've watched bits and pieces, but I've never watched one from start to beginning. Nor have I really wanted to. Now, I did notice last night that they're coming out with Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. But if I haven't seen the others, I probably wouldn't understand the last one either. But it's the one with Tom Cruise in it. And in Mission Impossible 2, Tom Cruise, in the opening scene, and it's the second one. So, in the opening scene, he performs his very own rock climbing stunt. He apparently had this thin safety cable on him that they removed digitally, so you don't see the cable in the movie. So it looks like he's just doing this without anything to secure him. But he's scaling a vertical cliff barehanded, and then he jumps a huge crevice, and then he hangs from a rock ledge by his fingertips. Kind of made me think of the movie that Sylvester Stallone was in, Cliffhanger, I think is what it's called. That's what this makes me think of. And it's said that during the shooting of the film, Tom Cruise actually suffered a shoulder injury. But a lot of Mission Impossible movie lovers say they felt the authenticity of Tom Cruise doing his own stunts actually added substance to the film. I didn't know that. Like I said, I haven't watched it, so I didn't know that it was just something that I researched. Thought it was appropriate for this whole mountain climbing thing. But this part of filming took place at Dead Horse Point in Utah. And there are other people who do exactly what Tom Cruise is doing in his movie. And, but they're actually climbing it without any wires or anything. I cannot imagine having that much trust without some sort of safety net, right? So when we start climbing, just like we did a couple of weeks ago, I had to come up with a well thought out path of how we were going to accomplish the climb together, but on our own hero mountain. Also, keeping in mind that for most climbers, the right equipment is necessary, not only for protection, but also for enjoyment and increasing the pleasure while lessening the fear. Same here with my well thought out plan for how I wanted to present this to you guys, the right talking points, the teaching points as well, the right equipment, if you will. Having a safe place so you feel protected, participating when you're in chat, and is necessary. So there's also that enjoyment, increasing communication in chat and lessening your fears of being made fun of or picked on or bullied. So for those of you here on the climb of Hero Mountain with me, for us to reach hero status, the right equipment is vital in order to do what many around us says can't be done. The competency and personality. Sandy, you're not late. You're not late. If I do have to say, the beginning of my notes, I'm just like, okay, let's get through this. At the end, you want to come around for the end for sure. But you don't know when that is, so you gotta watch the whole thing, right? The competency and personality forms our own cables that allow us to ascend certain paths in life. The characteristics that we have are connected with us in ways that, once understood, greatly increase our capacity to achieve more than when operating unaware of those attributes. It is important that we understand that these connections, they support the emotional strand for us, so that pressure and stress do not hinder our climb. And we have to understand, I don't know, Sandy, you might towards the end, we have to understand our core strengths and match our assets to our work and passion to create a strong rope or bond, if you will, that can guide us without risk of a break or a failure in the rope. Nobody wants to be falling, right? So not only does a well executed climb not only include having great equipment and also having excellent planning and strategic development, but those are all fueled by intense desire to achieve and live out a life of purpose. No, I keep forgetting about it. Shelby, welcome in, Shelby. Welcome. We have to include developing our plan around strengths and experience while minimizing the effects of weaker abilities. I just forgot. Discovering strengths. So many refer to strength as an innate ability that is not learned, meaning we've had that in us since we were born. So here we go. Competency is attributed to a natural skill developed from past experience. But for those of us here tonight, those terms, they're going to be interchangeable. When we understand the connection between common denominators in our aptitudes and interests, we know that it is just as important as obtaining the right ropes for our climb. Having these insights can hold us up like strong cables in our life's climb. When we're at halftime of our lives, the participation in going through this process is especially relevant because by examining our past experience coupled with an accurate assessment of our abilities and opportunities, we can evaluate what the best path to take in pursuit of our mission and our purpose. Most of us are usually some combination of introvert and extrovert. When we define our basic personality type, we're going to be one or the other, usually, depending on the circumstance. We recognize our partialities when we pursue different tasks, such as when we want to take the lead or when we prefer to do it alone. So chat participation time. I'm just curious, with our awesome people in here, which of you are introverts and extroverts? So in chat, are you an introvert or an extrovert? So I want to see what we have in here. I know for myself, I can come across as an extrovert, but someone usually has to approach me first. So like if I go to a party, I'm not going to usually, sometimes I'll put myself out there, but most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, I have to be approached first. So if you're comparing my husband and I, though, however, I'm the extrovert and he's the introvert. But honestly, I could be both. It just depends on what circumstance, what situation I'm being put in. So y'all share in chat. Let me know if you're an introvert or an extrovert. And if you don't know, we're going to discuss it. So Josie says both. Joanne says both. Like Robert is really an introvert. Like I would say 90% of the time. And then y'all get to see a sliver of that 10%. Some of y'all don't ever get to see it, but he is very introverted. Let's see. So Josie said both. Joanne said both. Selena says I'm out there. Both, though. Lisa D says both. Stephanie says I probably come across as an extrovert, but it actually depends on the environment and situation. See, that's me. Like, if you say hi to me, I can usually make friends with you. I'm very personable, I think. I really like people for the most part, so I would say 90% of the time I'm an extrovert, But if I have to be the first one to force a conversation or whatever, I close down quickly. Sandy said extrovert. And some of it, I try to use some of my Dale Carnegie principles, and stuff, but sometimes I'm just like, shut it. I'm not doing it. Black Widow says I can be very social, but not on this platform. Gotcha. I understand that. Yes. And then, you do have people that will present themselves one way. They want to have that professional persona and, their business all the way. And then, when you're up close and personal with them face to face, they might totally be an extrovert or whatever. So Selena says, I can talk to a rock and will patiently wait for the rock to talk back. I do believe that about you, though. 100%. So if you don't know, like I said, maybe we can figure out discussing introverts and extroverts. Introverts love to work with ideas. They value their alone time, which is totally 100% my husband. Whereas extroverts, they like activity happening all around them. And they enjoy working actively with objects or people. Now, as I said, they do, right, Sandy? Rocks are cool. They have a lot to tell, right? Kind of like the walls, that the walls could talk, right? So I am an introvert with an extrovert job. I love people. I'm a people person. I love to help people. I love to hear people's stories. But I also like working alone on projects with my job and not have so much noise involved. I really have, I don't know if it's as I've gotten older or if it's the atmosphere I've been in, but I really don't try, this sounds horrible of me, but I really try not to get to know the guys that come in because usually they're only there for like 3 months, just being honest. The business, it is a dog-eat-dog type business, and if you don't hustle it, if you don't make phone calls, if you don't get in front of people, you won't last, and you got a contract requirement and things like that. And if you're not going after it, you're lucky to be there for a year. So Sandy says, Lord, don't let the walls talk, right? So anyways, but the noise, I've shared with some of you, I think. I might even shared it while I've been live. But, there's just certain things that just annoy me. And that's just who I am now in this part of my life. So, but back to, I do enjoy working on projects alone. I'm also getting to a point where I place great value on my alone time. And when I say alone, more times than not, it includes Robert. So when I say alone, I'm not really alone. We don't have to be side by side in the same room touching, just knowing that he's down the hallway. We've said this the whole time of our marriage. Just knowing that he's down the hallway if I needed him, but at the same time, I'm watching TV, I'm watching the show I want to watch, or I'm working at my warehouse, or I'm working on my business here. I like that alone time because I feel like I can focus and get done what needs to be done. So, but, doing what I love to do with who I love to do things with, or just doing nothing if I choose. So some big names you might recognize that are introverts, you might recognize but didn't know that they were introverts. Right, Black Widow? Yeah, I can't, no. Do not. Robert and I have always been the type also, it's like, oh, we can cuddle and watch a show when we're, going to bed. But after that, it's like, I gotta have my space. I'm not one of those. I cannot handle sleeping on top of, have my arm around them or their arm around me. It's like, nope, give me my space, my side of the bed. Leah says, yes, me too. As long as Tim is somewhere in the house, I'm okay. Yes. So, hey, Tammy, Dream Chaser, welcome in. And I don't know if it has to do with, no, it has to do. There's no question in my mind. I don't even know why I said that. But I genuinely deal with the fear of losing Robert because of losing my parents and my brother in such a short amount of time. Like the other day, Robert and I were kind of touching on that. I couldn't even go there with him because it just immediately brought tears to my eyes. So that's one thing I personally, we share here. That's one thing I personally have been struggling with more than anything, it seems like. So back to being an introvert and extrovert. But some of the people that you might not know, there's one that truly shocked me. That's an introvert. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, Bill Gates, and Microsoft. The one that shocks me, Christina Aguilera, the singer. It's like, really? She's an introvert? And Courtney Cox, who's an actress. Y'all know her from Friends and other movies that she's been in. She's an introvert. All of them are introverts. Bill Gates does not surprise me whatsoever. J.K. Rowling doesn't surprise me either. Another introvert is Josh Groban, who I can listen to him anytime. A classical pop star who has stated that he doesn't leave the house much. And when he goes on tour, it does give him a small sliver of him that is an extrovert. And it's a chance for him to go out and party, party it up. And then he's good for a while. That sounds like who I am for sure. But both introverts and extroverts have a great potential, especially if we're in the, our fields, and some of us that are still working, if we're in those fields that match our skill sets. So the capability combined with prior work strengthens the common cable of competency. The objective is to clarify and simplify the process with fun and insight. So in order to do so, we begin with the climbing metaphor of carabiner. And so I thought of Tammy on this part because Tammy has a carabiner. I even listened to how this word is pronounced, and that's how it's pronounced, carabiner. But it's a connector. It's a part of the fall protection system when you're climbing. And it's a metal loop with a sprung or screw gate opening, and it is used to quickly and reversibly connect components like ropes or slings. A lot of people use these for their keys. Tammy is one of them. She has them for her keys. So as soon as I saw that word, I was like, oh, that's Tammy, But these carabiners, they operate with the same principle as a heavy-duty safety pin with a tight lock closure. If you have a heavy carabiner, it offers a more secure attachment and also enhances the climber's peace of mind, knowing that it's not going to come undone, right? Or hoping. I mean, I'm sure nothing is 100% fail-proof, right? So just like the carabiner connects components, a well-defined core competency connects acquired cables of experience, skill, and opportunities. The disconnection and doubt that we have will result when our connections are ill-defined or they're weak. If you have little or no enthusiasm for ideas or projects, then that's when self-doubt and discouragement and fear are going to set in. The not good enough language that the trash that we say to ourselves, the self-talk that we have for ourselves, that language starts creeping in, and it contributes anxiety and negativity, which brings us additional stress. So it's important that we revisit our strengths and our competency to rebuild confidence and focus. Another part of all this is having healthy relationships. They are so valuable. It is so important that we have healthy relationships in our lives with our family and friends, co-workers. A surprising source of hopelessness many will or have suffered from is that halftime of our lives, where relationships they have with others. Anyone can relate to that? That's me. If we have detachment, life-altering circumstances, or we have a strained personal relationship, it can make as easily slide down a rocky slope of discouragement and despair. When we have relationships that were once close and they become strained or broken, it becomes very difficult to garner the emotional energy to keep climbing to the summit of our own hero mountain. In other words, they just drain you. They're dead weight. I've seen that in my work, my day-to-day job. I've seen that happen at least one big time, maybe a couple times, probably more than that, but ones that really stick with me. That when we have relationships, I already said that part, toxic relationships or friendships that we have can be emotionally draining. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they can also be the hardest to release and terminate. Who can relate to that part as well? Why is it that those are the hardest ones for us to release and terminate? I know for myself, when it came down to terminating toxic relationships, for example, with my ex-husband, my stepdad, and maybe some of my friends, it was hard to release and terminate it. And it still can be hard for me. I still struggle with that. I felt like I was going to be a failure with my first marriage because I couldn't make it work. Even though I was being emotionally abused and having to carry our family on my salary alone, which wasn't much back in the day at all. But while raising 2 kids, but sometimes felt like 3. Failing at my first marriage, but to whose expense? My stepdad. I felt like I was a daughter who was bad and failing at being the good daughter. The one who is supposed to take care of her family no matter what comes. But again, to whose expense, right? Friends that demanded all my time and all my attention, I felt I was letting down because I didn't want to let anybody down. I wasn't being the one who was, but yet I wasn't the one being there to listen and take it all. But again, to whose expense, right? Something, we all have heard that line, something has to give. Sandy says, I don't want to give up on anyone, but, right? It's so hard. Selena says, I had those, and yes, myself, I was trying to prove I was there for them when I got back was grief, right? So again, to whose expense are you willing to do that for? All 3 of those scenarios was me giving up on who I was as a person, however. They were relationships that just downright exhausted me, and they hindered me from my climb. So that is something I have been working on, and I guard myself a whole lot more than ever of who I allow to share my energy with. So here we go. I know, Black Widow, you're going to hammer that. That's been hammered in me all my life. Favorite word again, boundaries, right? That's something I struggle with. And I think there's probably more people than not that struggle with that. Those that get it, that have no problem setting boundaries, kudos, applause to you, because I wish I was that good. Steph says, I think a lot is knowing what to expect, even if it's toxic, is easier emotionally than the unknown. All right. It's like, okay, so one of my best friends, Teresa, who I've known since I was 11, got into therapy. And the day that most of this crap came to blows regarding my stepdad, I met her at Starbucks for coffee. And she told me something that has stuck with me ever since. I told her, I said, I feel like I got, can't remember. It was something along the lines, I feel like I have to hang on to this. I don't want to, not be there and something was to happen. He committed suicide or anything like that. I felt like I had to be the one hanging on to the rope. I had to keep hanging on to him. And I didn't want to know what it was going to be like, because it was the unknown. I didn't know what it would be like when I, decided not to be the, what's the word I'm looking for? The punching bag, so to speak. Because I was a punching bag more than anything. Not literally, but words. And so anyway, but she told me, she looked at me with all seriousness in her eyes, and she just looked at me and she said, let go of the rope. What's going to happen is going to happen. Letting go of that rope was hard, though, but I will never forget her telling me, let go of the rope. If I'm to be saved, my carabiner's going to kick in, right? No, I don't know. But anyways. Selena says, but if I would not have went through it, I wouldn't be here and the people I love so much, right? Steph said, the expense isn't worth it to me anymore. Right? Yes. Like, I don't mind meeting where someone is, but if they're not willing to grow and blossom, I leave them where I find them and wish them well. Very good words, Steph. Very good. Love that one. Yes. Heck yeah. Yes. So, again, that's something I've been working on personally since all that went down and so forth. I'm very guarded. I call Robert my bad, or now I can't remember. He's the one that if I start getting in too deep on a situation, especially with another narcissist or whatever, he's my bad. He's the one that comes in and it's like, nope, sorry, she can't do that. If I need him to be. I don't know where my memory is going because I used to know exactly what that is, but I think that's what I call him. It's my bad. Steph said, yes, boundaries, and it's not easy for me, but still learning and following through with them. Selena says, I think the trauma I went through in life that the narcissist people sometimes find me, and I can't explain how I fall in the middle of it, right? That's why it's so important that we have these relationships and people that are honest with us when we need that honesty with us. I know with my daughter, I'll say, do you want me to sugarcoat it, or do you want me to tell you what I really think? Do you want my honest opinion, or do you want me to sugarcoat it? More times than not, probably 9 times out of 10, she'll always want me to give it to her as it is. So, chat participation time. Speaking of hinder, I want to know what hinders you from being who you want to be. What are the hindrances to your life? Can y'all name a few? So I'm going to give you a moment to think about that. Share it in chat. Let me know what hinders you from reaching your full potential, if you will, being who you want to be in life. If you have any, you might not have any. So. Yep, Josie, you're good at that. Josie said, as I always say, I call it like it is. If you don't want someone to be blunt with you, don't go to Josie. Josie's gonna tell you exactly what it is. Selena, thank you. She said, my health is a hindrance and the fact that I don't feel like I'm worth anything. But we got you coming around, right? We got you coming around. You know how valuable you are, at least to me. And Josie, and Joanne, and everybody else. You're getting there, girl. I'm proud of you. You've come a long, long way. Long, long way. Baby steps, right? Yes. So in order to move forward, it's important that we first examine connections between hindrances. Some people are hindered by troubled relationships, and some are paralyzed by fear of failure to change. There's that C word, change. But when these things blur our vision, things like fear, insecurity, jealousy, etc., it can make it to where discovering our strengths can actually become difficult. Also, some people cling to destructive habits, and it can make someone scared to seek out help. So, when examining one's core strength and competency, and to be able to successfully link past strengths and experience, it can be a truly fulfilling opportunity, and it can be of great value. They are essentially the first steps as well. Josie says, I fight for my friends. Yes, you do. You and Selena, boy. I've seen y'all. Oh. Oh, Joanne says, we got you, twin. You can share my rope. Hold on. Love it. Love it. So sweet. So, remember, we discussed the fears that we might have that are holding us back last week. We discussed those fears that we might have. Y'all shared what some of your fears are as well. And grabbing onto a solid cable with a healthy mindset is essential for maximum effectiveness. We discussed how important it was to have that healthy mindset cable as well a couple of weeks ago. If y'all remember, we're just building on each one. Steph said, to be honest, my hindrance has been believing more than I realized that I didn't belong at the table, anyone's table, like not for any other reason, that I had and have to prove it from the start, trauma base. Yes. Like what I said, it's how you feel about yourself. That isn't anyone else's business. Concern yourself, not what others think about you. But it's so hard, especially us women, right? Like us women, we're constantly comparing ourselves to the next. You know, we talked about social media and how we do that. Hey, Harry, welcome in. Good to see you. So good to see you, Harry. Welcome, welcome. So now with a stronger carabiner in hand, I love that word, carabiner. Carabiner. It's not, to me, that's not how it's spelled, but that's how it's pronounced. We can now connect within that the cables of past experience, the skills, and current opportunities that will securely support us in our climb. After discussing what is holding us back, it's now time to act. First steps won't get us to the top of our own hero mountain, but it will establish the right direction that we need to go for the climb. Remember, even though we are midlife or at halftime of our life, or even those of you that are about to be or you've already passed it, no matter where you are in your life, remember the first step towards creating the life you want is taking responsibility for the life you have. Now, the process of discovering core strength and competency may be hard emotionally, but it doesn't have to be difficult. In fact, determining the common denominators connecting a life and maybe a career that you had or life and something else, it needs to be fun. It needs to be simple and full of self-discovery revealed in midlife. So how do we do this? How do we do that? We do it by discovering core common denominators. We know we are talking in terms about math. A common denominator is an element that is shared by all numbers. We know that 3 is the common number shared by 6, 9, and 12, right? For us, our common denominators is a characteristic or interest shared by other members of a group that we might be in. So you take a group of people that have a common interest in their community, they meet together with the same desires, the same goals, which are the common denominators. And this allows them to make decisions that will be best served in their community. When we are in pursuit and discovery of our core competency, or strengths, it is important to identify the shared elements, the interests and characteristics in these areas, such as what we love to do, our current skills, our future dreams, and our mission and our purpose. A common denominator is a characteristic or interest that is shared among inclination, skills, and purpose. So here we go. Chat participation time. What tasks are there that you love to do? And this could be a range of activities such as writing, speaking, gardening, counseling, performing, creating, selling, teaching, etc. What are some tasks that you love to do? Y'all, crocheting, those are tasks. So what are some things that y'all love to do? Anybody want to share? I love to crochet. I can't finish it though. Joanne says crocheting, being with my friends. Josie says creating. Love that. Selena says create things, decorating, writing. Steph says creating. Maybe that's why we're all such good friends, because we all love to create. Lisa D says reading and crochet, right? I love that y'all all said, most of y'all said creating. Yes. So when we start doing this, we start coming up with our love to-do list. Not our to-do list, our love to-do list, if you will. Now, Tammy, that's probably a close second for me. Sleep. Yes, I love to sleep. Yep. So we create this love to-do list. When we come up with that, we expand the elements of those things by identifying what we love about each item we said and the reasons why we love it. Exactly, it is, because you're creating a blanket, you're creating a hat, you're creating mittens, you're creating something, right? Yes, all of it. So, for example, I love to come up with Monday motivation, if y'all didn't know this yet. I love to come up with Monday motivation content, creating topics. I think that might be important. Yes, Lena does not know what sleep is. I don't know how that girl does it. I used to be able to do it, but yeah, not now. Right? Like crocheting gets me out of anything that I'm thinking about. It puts me in a zone, so to speak. Lisa D says sleeping is creating a better me. Right? So again, I love to come up with my Monday motivation content. I get to see and experience, and some of you that I hear from, some of you will share that it gives you joy and you benefit from listening to what I created for you. You share that it gives you all the feels. So with that insight, it motivates me to create even more for you guys. And it continues week in and week out to keep doing this. I feel bad if I think that I'm going to cancel. I really thought about canceling tonight because this topic just was not getting to me. And, it was like that, I need to be there. Monday motivation. We always have Monday motivation, 8 p.m. Central, right? So, exactly. I'm in bed by 10:30, the absolute latest. So, next, we need to look at the skills. What can we do? Then, this may be simple things like you can type a Word document, being able to use an iPad, using needles to crochet or knit or both, drawing, painting. Maybe you can create an Excel document, those kind of things. Maybe it's cooking, and you can take a recipe and you can create your very own recipe out of it, right? What feels easy to master is what we are looking for. What is easy to master is what you're looking for when you do this. We can include something we have experienced in the past that's been lying dormant for some years. Well, thank you, Steph. I appreciate that. Oh, I love that. Um, so, things that have been lying dormant. So, who all took piano lessons? Or maybe you took lessons of some sort of another instrument or whatever. Maybe you took vocal lessons, or you took tennis lessons, or you played softball, all those kinds of things. We could bring back a buried skill or awaken a neglected talent that we haven't used in a while. Mine is the piano. I played the piano, took piano lessons for 15 years. And I know that I am so rusty at it now. I still can read music, but as far as playing and remembering, the right combo fingers and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that probably, it sounds really rusty. It's like one key at a time now. Thank you, Tammy. Love you. Joanne says she took piano lessons in grade school. Selena says, I got this office ready to start creating. I've worked hard and redoing. Yes, you have. Really hard. Let's see. Steph said, wanted to, but can't read music. My music teacher tossed me out. My stepdad, him and my mother went on a trip and they went to ski school. He got kicked out. Well, actually, he didn't get kicked out of ski school, so to speak. He just got put in with the children. The ski instructor said that he had 2 left feet. So Joanne said she wished that she could have stuck with it. Sam could play the piano? Really? Tammy said, I did piano and drums. I just wish I could carry a tune and we give up our day job, right? Yes, that would be so much fun. Steph says she did home ec and loved it, right? My favorite part of home ec was making donuts one day. That's be the one that I remember, and my apron that I made, So, again, I did piano for so long. And I remember when I was able to I was going off to college, so I no longer could do the lessons anyways, but I remember being able to grow my nails out. That was like the most glorious moment in my life. So we briefly touched on soft skills last week, if you remember, but do not discount soft skills that you have. Soft skills are personal attributes that enables someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. I use these quite often in my job. I can calm somebody down so quick that's irritated, upset on the phone about certain things. Somehow I soften the blow. But there have been studies that show that women score higher than men on nearly all emotional intelligence competencies, which are soft skills. Those soft skills, they shine a spotlight on what feels most natural in the areas that we gravitate towards. The list of possibilities is extensive when you look at that. Steph said hers was orange juice. Joanne said, I love the sewing part. Yes. Selena says, I remember starting a food fight with the football team in home economics. True story. Oh, I believe it. There's nothing that you say surprises me anymore. Now, I don't know how many of you have walked in the shoes that I have. You might not walk in the exact same shoes as I have, but you got similarities that you can relate to. But it is now common for the old to now be caring for the very old. Some of us have been or are at the prime of our life when most of us should be freed up to travel. We no longer have kids at home. We can have the grandkids when we want them and then send them back home to mom and dad. And maybe we have an inheritance that we're spending as well. But the need for caregiving and coordination of care for loved ones have escalated. In my 40s, I was doing this, and now I'm still doing that at 50, caring for the well-being and financially part for my stepdad. So even though I'm not taking care of him day to day, account to the income trust account and paying his nursing home and all, all that. Renewing Medicaid and filing his taxes and all, yeah. So I'm still, even though I'm not with him physically, even though I'm not dealing with him every day, still taking care of him. So yes, I love home economics, but not the teacher. Selena said, I love making shorts and a purse to match, though. Lisa D said, I made a skirt and jacket matching lavender. Ooh. Joanne said she made a lot of her clothes in high school. Right, Selena? You do. Y'all take care of your mom. Y'all make sure her bills get paid, groceries, if she needs to get a gift, whatever. Yeah. We had an old lady as home ec teacher, a very nice lady. Sandy said, I'd go back to no sleep and high stress for one more day with my mama. Yeah, probably depends on what family member. Yes. So, that is just where we are in our lives. So define the elements, just like the main elements that are in water, which is hydrogen and oxygen. Our interests and accomplishments consist of multiple components as well. Don't discount something because it feels a bit rusty, like my piano playing. Just because we took some time off to, maybe it was to raise a family or complete other tasks that were more important in our life at the time, it doesn't decrease the value of our skills. Just like I put off my college degree, my bachelor's degree, because I had a family to take care of at that point. But I picked it back up and I got my bachelor's degree in 2020. And it was for nobody else but for my own. It was only for myself to achieve. Now, we can also have overlapping skills. Sometimes we will find elements that overlap between the love to do list that we discussed earlier and the skills that we currently have. And I told you about my love of Monday motivation and how it motivates me to continue to come up with different topics and such. The part of getting to hear from you guys how certain topics and such, and part of getting or to have touched you and or helped you with something you were going through at the time, that includes the soft skills. It is also delivering to multiple personalities. We're all unique. We're all different. And we all respond differently and everything. And different levels. So focus on feelings associated with these various activities or interests that you have. It's fine to focus on what gives us joy and excitement. So much of our lives is spent on doing and not really feeling and thinking. Lisa D said, we started a group called PHP, People Helping People. We did bake sales and help people in business in the community. Yes, that goes to what I was talking about earlier about, common interests and everything. Joanne said, I was in my 40s when I had to help my parents a lot. They were only 69. My dad when he passed and my mom at 72. It was hard at times, but I'd do it all over again, right? I'd definitely take care of my dad again. I would definitely take care of my mom. The jury is still out on my stepdad. I love him for the man that he was before everything went to, the pot. All right. Lisa D said, I was 12 when dad passed, 30 when mom passed, and helped my mom in my 20s. See, all of us can relate to each other. Yes. So let's do another chat participation time, and then the good stuff comes in, I think. The good stuff, I think it is. So, how do you feel when you hear the word change? When you hear that C word, change, how do you feel? Do you welcome change into your life? I am finally seeing, as I get older, where some things I hate change on. Like I'm comfortable with certain programs at work, but then they got to go in and change some things about it, and I have to figure out all over again where everything is. Why must they change it? Becomes a bigger exclamation in my life now. So, how do you feel about the word change? I'm curious to see what y'all think. Selena says, I welcome it now, I'm more open to it. Josie says, I've had to change so many times, it's not a big deal anymore. I just remember being younger. It was like, what's so big about change, you know? But there are some things that do bother me. It's like, really? Why? It wasn't broken. Why do we have to fix it? So. Lisa D says, I like change. Trying to change for the better. Yes. Sandy says, I'm going to get my PhD from Selena's School of Excellence and change the world. Otherwise, I like boring now. So change, what most feel at this point when it comes to change is the negative self-talk again, that talk trash that we do, and our resistance to change. Joanne, thank you. Joanne says, I don't like it, but dealing with health issues, I've learned a lot about changing and how I need to do things, right? Yes. Thank you, Joanne. I was starting to think I was the only one in that. So, like last week, I think it's an important reminder to remind you that even the things in our past, whether it was things that happened unjustly to us or the things that we did in our past that we're just not so proud of, if we're going to own the good of our life, we also have to own the bad because we can't change anything. Stephanie said, it depends who's announcing the change. Honestly, change happens so often lately. I don't know what it would be for things to remain for a bit. I try to approach it more openly, even if I don't. Right, Josie? Life is full of changes. So going back to Steph, she said, I try to approach it more openly, even if I don't understand it. Yes. So again, if we're going to own the good parts that have happened in our life, we have to own the bad parts as well because we can't change anything. You can't alter the reality on the ground until you own it. Robert Keegan, an author, said in his book, Immunity to Change, courage involves the ability to take action and carry on even when we are afraid. We must be willing to change and transform our vision of the future. Selena says it's okay to open yourself, but choose wisely who you open yourself to, right? Yes. We can't make something better that you have not acknowledged and claimed to be yours. When our pursuits are based on sound assessments, the scale is substantially weighted for success. I'm just curious because I had heard of this, but I hadn't watched it. Anyone ever watched the movie Darkest Hour? Anybody know what I'm talking about when I say the Darkest Hour? Have you ever heard of that movie? It was a movie that came out in 2018, and it showed how Winston Churchill rose against the tide of a dissenting British cabinet. With his own party plotting against him, he withstood his darkest hour, rallied a nation, and changed the course of world history. I'm not the only one. See, like I'd heard of it, but I haven't seen it. So, yes, Josie said to be a better person and grow, you have to accept change. Amen. So in the movie, there's an unforgettable scene of where Churchill implemented change that would lead Britain to war with no guarantee of victory. But to do nothing would have been suicide for the nation and the 300,000 troops stranded on the beaches of Dunkirk. And also Hitler didn't gain. Hitler would have taken all of our freedoms away from us had this not happened. Churchill quoted George Bernard Shaw, and I love this quote. Those who never change their minds never change anything. When we shed the cocoon of comfort and emerging a wing at a time to become a beautiful butterfly, we cannot let fear of change or loss keep us from our dreams. Selena says, trust your instincts, your inner self deep down. You know when there's danger. Just be careful with the people you associate with. As we get older, we get an inner feeling, I think. That gut instinct, right? Steph says, it's more of will we remain intact? Usually family ties. I don't have many of them, so the ones I have are tight. Yes. So we cannot let fear or change or loss. Hello, Scooter. What was I saying earlier about, with Robert? We can't let that keep us from our dreams. So many of us, many at the halftime point of their life will, y'all might have seen these people. I know I have within my business and everything. But at the halftime point, people think, well, life is halfway over. They squelch their imagination, they bury their dreams, and they repress hope of a new and exciting future. You see, there's nothing so detrimental as one who is feeling slighted by life. That they don't start where they are to make the most of what they have left. They think, oh, it's too late. It's too late. And maybe you might be one of those that feels that way. But I'm here to tell you it's not too late. It's never too late. They get their mindset fixed that this is the path that brought them to the present moment. That they forget it's not the same path that will lead them forward from here. And to break out of this fixed mindset, it takes the active decision to change with a growth mindset. Oh, I snuck in another chat participation time. Forgot about this one. If any of your dreams, this is chat participation time. If any of your dreams could come true with a simple snap of the fingers, money being no worry, what dream would come true for you? Is it a place that you want to live? Is it traveling? Giving more to organizations that you believe in? Is it, give yourself permission to dream for just, even if it's just for this 1 second. If your dream could come true with a snap of a finger, money being no worry, what dream would come true for you? Steph says, I walked my biggest fears, many through change, while experiencing great loss. My hardest is having guidance like when younger. You look for the more seasoned ones in the crowd, right? Kind of like a good cast iron skillet. Because then if they're not well seasoned, you can knock them up by the head. I don't know where I was going with that. Selena, so what drives me crazy the most is Debbie Downers. Those people drive me crazy. We have to see a little light in our lives, right? Josie says a new apartment. A new apartment where we can have all the daggum hummingbird feeders that we want. Right, Josie? Joanne says being able to travel more. I love Lisa D's. My oldest daughter would talk to me and her siblings, right? Yes. I so feel that one, Lisa D, because I have that with my oldest daughter. She talks to me. She just doesn't talk to her siblings. So I feel some of it then. Have my best friends live closer. Come on, Selena. I'm not moving to Tennessee. You can move to Arkansas. Josie said, "You're right, Scooter." Right? A well-seasoned cast iron skillet. That's what I'm looking for in people. So purpose, when we think about our loves, our current and past skills, and our dreams, it's time to consider why we are really passionate about a certain area. What is our purpose? Hey, Maritza. That's how I pronounce it. I know other people might say it another way. Sandy, come on over, Josie. Just get used to the Victorian potty chair. So what is our purpose? This is why that we come up. This is the why that we come up with. Is what gives steam to the little engine that says, "I know I can. I know I can. I know I can." These possibilities are what can move us to the next chapter of our life. Again, last week we discussed that our why is what creates our mission statement. If you'll remember, mine was driven by the desire to encourage and equip women and men to be better, do better, and to provide all the tools, both technical and mental, that they will need to enjoy a more positive second half of their life than they did in their first. Steph says, dream is a two functioning home and space. Having home and space, not 900 square feet. The other is a health goal that a few to accomplish will achieve it soon. Right? We're doing it. It blows my mind what I've been able to accomplish in less than a year with my type 2. Selena says, we really need a new house. There's holes and grass. If I had money, we would have a newer home. Don't have to be brand new and a reliable car, right? Yes. So last week we discussed that our why is what creates our mission statement. And I just reread mine to y'all. So we then move on to our what. And our what is our purpose statement. This is why we covered all of this last week, was so we could be set up for this week to prepare the path, as I stated at the very beginning of my notes. Some people mistake their core competency for passion. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we're passionate about doing it, right? I can cook a meal, but I'm just not passionate about cooking. I can ship the items that I sell, but I'm definitely not passionate about wrapping the items. And yes, before it gets said, yes, I know I'm very lucky that I have someone like RoFlo that doesn't mind helping me and doesn't mind doing that part. I'm very lucky about that. It does not go unnoticed. But before RoFlo, I found ways that kind of help ease that process for me. That's when I started doing weekly invoices instead of after every auction. I had a set day that I did my shipping as well. Back then, it was a ton of boxes, however. It was way more than I do now. And it was a whole bunch more items as well. And I would be literally in tears. But I found a way to kind of ease that pain. But now I definitely have having my Robert help me. Right? Not looking for a fancy or new reliable car. Selena says, I'd be really happy if RoFlo would send me some spaghetti. Just saying. I seen a picture of it. Doesn't that count? Harriet Tubman said, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. The combination and concentration of core competency, mission, and passion are where we can find success in lifelong work. The self-discovery is the first step towards getting unstuck at halftime. Look, I don't care how old you are. I don't care about your past. I don't care where you've been. You still have time. You still have time. And now you have a very important question to ask yourself. We're almost to the end, folks. You have a very important question to ask yourself. Try to be serious here, Selena, and I can't do it. She said that was a dirty tease, is what that pic was. So, a very important question to ask yourself. Do you have what it takes? Can you see the big picture when the rocks seem to be falling all around you? You can easily hit that release line, the static line that we learned about last week, and go back to the bottom of the mountain again. You know, where it's real comfortable, it's familiar, you're in your comfort zone. When we start hurting in this climb, it's easy, so very easy to go back to what was comfortable. I also think about training for my half marathons and being in the middle of the race. You know, it's so easy to just give up and just go get in the car and head home, right? When you're at the point of the climb, like maybe a crossroad, you have to know this. If you choose to continue the climb, you're betting on the future at the expense of the present. We might be surrounded by clouds on our climb. And some people think that that dreams are just fluffy concept invented to prop you up. But this climb, you get dirty. The rocks are scratching at you. They're clawing at you. They are what people don't see. The chapters not read aloud. And when you're in it, when you are truly in it, uncertainty needs to be embraced like it's the wind to your sails. To get to the top of the mountain, you start at the bottom on the ground. You elevate past every single level that stands between you and your dream. Now will not intimidate or discourage because you are bigger than right now. You are the pages unwritten, and you did what so people are not willing to do. You didn't just look at a pen, you picked it up. Now write your story for the ages and leave your legacy. Do the work, and I promise I'll see you at the top of our hero mountains. As always, thank you guys for starting off your week with me for Monday Motivation. Tomorrow night, I will be on with my feather sister Selena for a one fry short of a Happy Meal at 7:30 p.m. Central. Wednesday night will be my night off. Thursday night, I will have Cool Ranch Dorito on with me at 7:30 p.m. Central. Make sure you are subscribed, that you have the bell marked for all notifications, and don't forget to leave your thumbs up. I've got to get back into dropping some Bite Now videos. I've been putting that off, so you never know when that's going to happen. So that's why you want to make sure you are subscribed and you got your notifications turned on. So I don't know why. That one part just kind of got me choked up there for a second. So, no, we love you, Steph. Steph said, I'm grateful for y'all more than I can express. Oh, hold on. Let me go back because I'm missing something. Steph said, if you got air in your lungs, you got time. The short answer, yes. Without tears, probably not. Right? Selena says she thinks she can. She really thinks so. And then Selena says, Steph, I was where you was a year ago. There's hope. Scooter's a blessing. And these Mondays, I've come a long way. You have hope. We are here for you. Oh, I love that. All right, so that's what's going on this week. Next Monday motivation, we will be discussing our skills cable. We're going to be adding another cable to our climb so we can get to the top of our hero mountain. Can't remember how many more weeks until we reach the top. I'll try to look that up and share that with you next week. Grab the tissues. I know. Just something about writing the pages to our chapter, right? And every chapter is different of our lives. We can make it different. So. All right. Remember what George Bernard Shaw said, and I believe it to be a powerful quote. It's become one of my favorites. Those who never change their minds never change anything. No, I love it, Steph. I gotta, include this. On my hardest days I prayed for, God's answer was y'all. Oh. All right. So be willing to change. Rest up so we can continue to climb next week. Now let's do this thing. Love you guys.